Hey guys, it's LMV from Think Before You Type, and we're here with LostBoyCrow today. How's it going?
It's going so well. Thank you for having me.
And you're allowed to hold the mic. Sorry,
Okay. I will hold them. I am the holder of the mic at this time.
So your album Santa Fe was released, I think, earlier on this year, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How has it been since it's been released? What's the response been like?
It's been. I mean, it's been good. I don't want to oversimplify the answer, but I think anytime you spend, like a year, in my case, like a year kind of figuring out what I wanted the album to be, recording it, and then waiting for it to be released, like at the right time, and after all the singles and everything, it like so much time passes that by the time it's out in its entirety, you kind of I've had a chance to like fall back in love with it by that time, and like and realize just how lucky I am to be able to put something out that I've worked so hard on and have anyone care, much less all the fans, and the response that we have had has been really wonderful. And I think it was a big shift for me writing wise and lyrically, so to see people connect with it, I think on a deeper level maybe than previous bodies of work, is exactly what all I could have hoped for. So
that's awesome.
Really cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats. So you're currently on tour with Flor and Joan. So how's that going so far?
So well. They are the best humans. And yeah, it's been a really fun, exhausting time. A lot of shows in not that over just like a week and a half already, I think we're in. But yeah, I think it's just a testament to everybody on the tour and like how friendly and nice and easy to work with and understanding everybody is, because we're not sick of each other, and in fact we're having a great time. So yeah, it's been really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
That's always really good to hear. So you kind of mentioned this a little bit already about this shift that you kind of have made in your music in terms of writing and recording and all of that, but also in terms of your live show. Your live show has changed a lot recently, it seems. So can you talk a little bit about how you found the inspiration maybe for some of the changes that you decided to make?
Yeah, I think for me it was more so of getting back to a place of listening and creating that I had loved so much kind of before I started LostBoyCrow, just like with the bands that I was really into and that were inspiring me to write music, on the guitar, and with, the bands that I was in. And then, I had moved to LA and was able to make music, with just, like two people in the room, like me and a producer friend. And so that was awesome and a great experience, but the sound takes on a certain form when it's just like the two people kind of working with synths and a computer. And so for me it was more so just falling back in love with the music that I already loved and realizing like, oh, I enjoy making music this certain way, I just haven't done it for whatever reason in a few years. And so yeah, for me the biggest thing was just getting back to that place of like picking up the guitar again, which kind of started around like, a couple years ago when I was starting the process of Santa Fe, like picking up the guitar again, having the song start with that, just the guitar and the voice, and then expanding from that. And there they are right now, the best boys in the world. That was Joan, for those of you at home. Yeah, and I mean, I think some bands and some artists that inspired me would definitely like the new Arctic Monkeys record, the newer Arctic Monkeys record when it came out. Just sort of experimental soundscape of that and the songwriting of that really just kind of like struck an interesting chord within me and kind of made me want to get back to that place of like the song starting from a very raw and just different place, like on the guitar,
Nice. So, as we said before, you're already on tour. You've been you're about halfway through now. So, have there been any cool reactions to your songs, or have you had any cool encounters with fans that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I think there was one instance where a couple was slow dancing. I play this song called San Junipero off the album Santa Fe, which is one of my favorite songs. It means the most to me. It's kind of encapsulates the album in my mind. So seeing people post and tweet about like this couple slow dancing, in the middle of that song was really beautiful. And then I actually got to meet that couple after the show. We were like eating at the same place, so I got to see them, and that was like a really cool moment for me. But yeah, just in general, like this is really only the second time we've played shows with the Santa Fe songs, and so seeing anyone sing along or just come up to us afterwards and say how much a certain song means to them is like, this is the first time I'm having that feedback for a lot of songs, so it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's been really special. So you just mentioned you have this long tour going on right now, and kind of we're talking about all the different places that you've been and all the different shows that you've played so far, and also even with the past in mind, how do you make sure you're taking care of yourself when you have a grueling tour schedule in front of you?
That's a good question. I think I'm taking care of myself. I think you, at least for me personally, with the grueling schedule and just having done this sort of thing before, you find out it becomes pretty obvious if you're not taking care of yourself, or to me at least it becomes very apparent because I'll lose my voice or get sick. And so for me, I'm hyper sensitive and hyper aware of like when I need sleep or need to not talk or not sing. And so we haven't had a lot of days off this tour, but the days off that we have had, I think have been, taking that knowledge with me and just like, okay, I know I could sing a little bit, but I'm going to be quiet today, or I'm just going to like drink insane amounts of water, just stuff like that, like little things that I've picked up along the way. It kind of helped. So, yeah.
So, like, I don't know whether you're, like, getting ready to head on stage or if you're just feeling down. Is there, like, any type of uplifting song that you have? Like, there's one song that you listen to all the time or a specific artist?
That's a good one. I love Everything by Brockhampton. I don't know if you guys listen to them, but that's kind of been my go-to, whether I'm, like, trying to exercise, clear my head, just in the van. Like Brockhampton's been like a really good place for my soul to feel at ease. So that's definitely helped. Yeah.
I feel like it always helps to have like that music to go back to that makes you feel comfortable and at a good place. So that's cool. So when you kind of think about LostBoyCrow, kind of the journey you've been on already and where you want to see yourself going and the type of impact that you want to make on the world, you want to make on the music industry, how do you see things going, I guess, in the future? What's really important for you to put out into the world as a part of all this?
It's just important for me to have others see what I'm doing and see themselves in that. Whether it's listening, whether it's coming to a show and being like, hey, that dude's not even that good at guitar. Like, I could do that. No, I'm being self-deprecating. But honestly, though, like just I would, what I take the most from this whole touring experience and what I would want, from others is that they would see themselves like in the songs and in the shows, and whether it's pursuing music or something else, just feel sort of that sense of your passions are like the place that you call home, and that they would feel empowered to do the same. Yeah. And
then I guess like kind of going off of that, how did you get to that place where you were confident enough to put yourself out like that and feel like it could make an impact and that it was worth pursuing?
I mean, I think every artist, there's like an ebb and flow as far as, feeling confident or feeling, down about the art you're making or if you're doing the right thing. But I think I was just so surprised and grateful to have the feedback that I had, right away when I started releasing songs as LostBoyCrow, just outside of my family and friends, just like strangers from all over, receiving the song. That still gets me going. It still blows my mind to think about that was the case, even if it's just a handful of people. And I think at this point, it's no matter how many fans there are, just any amount of people that come to a show or repost a song on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, that means the world to me, and that's definitely what keeps me going. But I would say it started I was fortunate enough to have that pretty much right away when I started releasing music as LostBoyCrow. Just having any sort of feedback that was from strangers was really beautiful to me. So
I think having that feedback and that support is like really important in anything that you do. So like going along the same vein, like if there's like a young person out there who like they want to start something brand new and they haven't found the confidence to do it yet, how would you like suggest that they help themselves to get to that point?
Oh, I think the only way you can get to that point is to just start doing it. You know, I think you'd be surprised at how many artists, or I don't know, like anyone that you look up to, like if you were to really dive into their journey, I feel like they probably weren't, you know, traditionally like qualified maybe per se, or it seemed that way. And I bet more often than not they just kind of started diving in, and like I touched on earlier, like recognizing the passions that you have and like letting that sort of consume you and letting that steer you, I think is always the best way to go. Like trust your gut, you know, that's all we have as like humans and as artists and creators. So like trust your gut.
Kind of thank you for giving that advice out to other people, but kind of looking back at yourself, what piece of advice is something that maybe you've gained a lot of strength from recently, or something that someone recently has told you that's helped encourage you and help keep you going in your day-to-day life or in writing music or whatever it may be?
Oh man. I think I've had a lot of good advice relating back to the message of like not overthinking. And I think that ties back in with like trusting your gut. You know, I think you can always overthink, you know, everything, and that's not, you know, that pertains to art as well. And yeah, I think I've done a pretty good job of not marinating on things for longer than I have to, and getting them out in the world. But I would say, yeah, just like not overthinking things.
So I'm going to ask this for myself and for everyone else. What do you do to stop yourself from overthinking? Like once you start going down that road, what helps you kind of bring yourself back?
Well, I've found different things personally that help me get to the fact of like nothing's as big of a deal as you think it is. And I don't mean for that to sound negative, but that's just like the truth, you know? Life is very short. Everyone's dealing with the same things you're dealing with. Like nothing's that big, you know, just like kind of whatever you can do to get back to that place of like perfect smallness, like within, whether it's going for a hike or like meditating or just making more art, like, you know, I think getting to that place of realizing it's not as big as you think it is. It's like giving a speech in class. It's like no one cares. Like, no, I don't know, maybe that's sounds negative, but you know, it's never like as high stakes as you're making it out to be. And I think if you're comfortable, whether it's speaking in class or like singing on stage, people are going to get a lot more out of that if they see you at ease. So yeah.
Yeah, so as people in general, and especially as medical students, we definitely resonate with that because, yeah, a lot of times we'll try to overthink things and like it's not as big as we think it is. So October is actually National Bullying Prevention Month, and so we think it's really important to start conversations about bullying and cyberbullying. So what advice would you have for a young person who's maybe has experienced bullying or cyberbullying?
I'm trying to think how I can relate it back to what we were just talking about. Like I think you'd be surprised like how much of the same stuff we're all dealing with. I think no matter what side of things you're on, like that empathy is so vital as like a human being. And I think, I don't know, for me personally, that's always helped me deal with people that I've either been at odds with or I felt like were bullying me. It's like, I feel like I've been fortunate enough to maybe put myself inside their shoes and realize that like they're coming from a place of hurt and like insecurity, and that's like straight up like what it boils down to. Like there's no, like that's what all bullying comes down to. Like people are taking their insecurities and their negativity that they feel and trying to make themselves feel better. And I know I'm not the first person to like say that, but yeah, that's what I would say, is just trying to get to that place of understanding like where they're coming from. It's not just like this wall of hate. It's like there's a person or people behind it too that are also feeling that, and that's why they're giving that back out, and that cycle can, you know, end with you hopefully. But yeah.
I like it. That's a great answer. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me.